She said, "You're too nice, I need a bad boy." So I let her go. 6 months later, her bad boy put her in the ER with a broken nose, and my number stayed blocked. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I should have seen the signs earlier. It started with the little things, the way she'd sign when I asked about her day. Like my concern was some tedious obligation instead of genuine care. How she'd scroll through her phone while I talked, only half listening, her thumbs flying across the screen in some conversation that was clearly more interesting than whatever I had to say. Then came the nights out. Just drinks with the girls, she'd say, kissing me on the cheek before heading out in an outfit that looked a little too carefully put together for a casual girls' night. I'd nod, swallow my unis, and tell her to have fun. But when she'd stumble in at 3 a.m., smelling like whiskey and some cologne that wasn't mine, the pit in my stomach grew heavier. "You're being paranoid," she'd snap if I asked who she'd been with. God, can I have friends? Her phone became a vault. Always face down, always locked. If it buzzed while we were together, she'd snatch it up lightning fast, her back turning to me as she typed. Then came Mark. Mark from her office. Mark with his motorcycle and his leather jacket and his crazy stories from his wild days. Mark got in a bar fight last weekend, she told me once, her eyes all light with something that looked dangerously like admiration. He said the guy deserved it. I remember staring at her, waiting for the punchline. For her to laugh and say, "Can you believe how ridiculous that is?" She didn't. The comparison started soon after. Mark wouldn't just sit around watching Netflix on a Friday night. Mark says what he thinks. He doesn't just try to make everyone happy. Mark knows how to really have a good time. Each one landed like a sucker punch to the gut. The night it ended, she came home late again, this time with a hickey peeking above her collar that she didn't even bother to hide. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. She rolled her eyes, already reaching for her phone. "About what?" "About whatever the hell this is," I gestured between us. "About you coming home with someone else's marks on you, about you clearly not giving a __ anymore." For a second, she looked almost guilty. Then her face hardened. "Fine, you want to do this now?" She crossed her arms. "I need more than this, than you. You're just safe, predictable. I think I deserve someone who excites me." The words hung between us, sharp and final. I nodded slowly. "Okay then, I guess you've made your choice." The next morning I packed my things while she slept off another late night, left my key on the counter, and just like that, 3 years together ended with a whisper, not a bang. The first week was the hardest. I'd wake up at 3 a.m., instinctively reaching for her before remembering the other side of the bed was empty. Our apartment just days ago felt cavernous without her laughter bouncing off the walls. Even the air smelled different, the lingering traces of her vanilla perfume slowly fading like a ghost. I did all the cliché things people do after heartbreak. Drank too much whiskey alone in my kitchen at midnight, deleted our photos in a fit of pained determination, only to frantically check my recently deleted folder an hour later. Played her favorite songs just to torture myself with the memories they carried. But then something shifted. I started feeling the silence, lifting weights until my arms shook, running until my lungs burned, throwing myself into work with a focus I hadn't had in years. My boss noticed, gave me a promotion I'd been chasing since before Jessica and I got together. Meanwhile, the updates trickled in from mutual friends. She's officially dating Mark now. They're already posting couple pics all over Instagram. She's got a key to his place, apparently. Each one stung less than the last. Then, for months in, the tone of the updates changed. They had a huge fight at Dave's birthday party. Mark was screaming at her in the parking lot. She showed up to brunch with a bruise on her arm. Said she fell. I think she's scared of him. I'd just nod, sip my coffee, and change the subject. It wasn't my circus anymore. Until the night my phone buzzed with an unknown number. At 2:47 a.m. I knew before I answered. Knew from the way my stomach dropped. From how my hands went cold despite the summer heat. "Hello?" Silence. Then a shaky exhale. It's me." Jessica's voice was barely recognizable. Thin and frayed like a rope stretched too tight. I sat up in bed, suddenly wide awake. "What do you want?" A muffled sob. "I'm at the police station." The words hung between us, heavy with everything she wasn't saying. "Mark, he..." Her voice cracked. I tried to leave. "He put me in the hospital." I closed my eyes. I should have felt something. Rage, pity, vindication. But all that came was a dull, hollow ache. Why are you calling me? Because you're the only one who ever actually cared. She burst out, her voice raw. I was stupid. Okay. I thought I wanted some reckless, __, who'd treat me like garbage. But now I'm here and I have no one. You had someone, I cut in, my voice steady. You threw him away because he was too nice. The silence that followed was deafening. When she spoke again, it was barely a whisper. I'm scared. I exhaled, watching the ceiling fan spin lazy circles above me. Call your parents. They won't. Then call a shelter, I said. But don't call me again. I hung up, blocked the number, and for the first time since she'd walked away, I slept through the night. The text started exactly 1 week after that 2 a.m. call. At first, they were tentative little probes to see if I'd respond. Hey, I know I shouldn't be texting you. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Can we talk? Just as friends. I left them all on read, deleted the thread, went about my day, but she kept coming. The messages grew longer, more desperate. I keep remembering how you used to make me tea when I was stressed. Mark never asked if I was okay. You always knew before I did. I think I __, up my entire life. Still, I didn't respond. Then she started calling. At first, just once a week, then almost daily. I let everyone go to voicemail. My phone filled with 3-minute monologues of her regrets, her fears, her loneliness. I deleted them without listening past the first few seconds. It all came to a head last Tuesday when I walked out of the gym to find her leaning against my car, looking like a ghost of the woman I'd loved. The Jessica I remembered had always been put together. Perfect winged eyeliner, outfits that turned heads. This Jessica had greasy hair piled in a messy bun, a hoodie 2 sizes too big, and dark circles under bloodshot eyes. You look good, she said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Been working out? I tossed my gym bag in the trunk, keeping my expression neutral. What do you want, Jessica? She flinched at my tone. I need help. Call a therapist. Please. Her voice cracked. I don't know how to leave him. The winter air turned our breath into fog between us. I studied her. The way her hands shook. The fresh bruise peeking out from under her foundation. The girl who'd called me boring now looked at me like I was her last hope. Remember what you told me? I said, clicking the trunk shut. Nice is just another word for weak. I was wrong. She grabbed my arm with surprising strength. You were the strong one all along. Mark's not strong. He's just angry. You were always kind. I gently peeled her fingers away. Took you long enough to notice. Her face crumpled. Please, just tell me what to do. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered coming home to an empty apartment after working double shifts to pay for the ring in my dresser. Remembered deleting our photos while she was probably already in Mark's bed. Figure it out, I said, sliding into the driver's seat like I had to. As I pulled away, I caught her reflection in the rearview mirror, knees giving out on the cold asphalt, finally understanding what too nice really meant. That night, I took the engagement ring I'd never gotten to give her and traded it in for a vintage Rolex. Every time I check the time now, I'm reminded that some clocks can't be turned back. The banging started at 2:17 a.m. I woke to the sound of fists hammering against my apartment door so violent the frame shook. Through the peephole, I saw Jessica barefoot in a ratty t-shirt and sweatpants, her left eye swollen nearly shut, smeared mascara giving her a raccoon-like appearance. Open the __, door. I know you're in there. Her voice shattered the hallway silence. Down the corridor, a neighbor's light flicked on. I watched motionless as she alternated between pounding and pressing her forehead against the wood. Please. Her voice broke into a sob. You were supposed to save me. Behind me, the sheets rustled. My girlfriend. Current girlfriend. Sarah sat up, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Baby, what's going on? Wrong apartment, I said calmly, turning away from the door. Jessica's wails escalated. I see your lights on. I know you can hear me. Sarah's brow furrowed. That doesn't sound like... Trust me, I interrupted, climbing back into bed. She has the wrong place. The pounding continued for 17 more minutes according to my watch. Then came the sound of her sliding down the doorframe, her cries dissolving into hiccuping whimpers. Eventually silence. The next morning I found a bloody handprint on my doorknob, a broken iPhone charging cable, the one I bought her for her birthday 2 years ago, a single teardrop-shaped bloodstain on the welcome mat. I disposed of all 3 before Sarah woke up. 3 weeks later, Leah cornered me at our usual coffee shop. "She's in rehab," she blurted out before I could order. "After you turned her away that night, she owed on Xanax and vodka." I sipped my black coffee. "That's unfortunate." Leah's eyes flashed. "Unfortunate? Jesus." She almost died. "Don't you care at all?" Behind her, Sarah walked in, smiling as she shook rain from her umbrella. I watched the way her sundress clung to her curves, the way she absent-mindedly tucked a strand of auburn hair behind her ear. "Here's the thing, Leah," I said, standing to greet Sarah. "I used up all my care on Jessica. There's none left." As Sarah kissed my cheek, I caught Leah's reflection in the cafe window, mouth slightly open, watching us with something between disgust and awe. 6 months later, the email arrived on a Tuesday. Subject: "I get it now. Asterisk. I know you'll never read this, but I need to say it anyway. You weren't too nice. You were too good. And I was too stupid to see the difference until it was too late. I hope she treats you better than I did. J. Asterisk." I marked it as spam. That weekend, Sarah and I adopted a rescue dog, a golden retriever mixed with soulful eyes. As I scratched behind his ears, Sarah laughed. "What?" I asked. "Nothing," she smiled. "Just thinking how lucky I got." I kissed her forehead, breathing in the sin of her shampoo. Outside, the sun shone. Somewhere, maybe Jessica was rebuilding her life. And for the first time in years, I genuinely didn't care. 5 years later, the engagement party was in full swing when I spotted her. Sarah's laughter bubbled over the jazz quartet as she showed off her ring to her friends. A custom-designed emerald cut that had taken me 3 months to source the perfect stone for. I was fetching her another glass of champagne when I felt the weight of eyes on me near the terrace doors. Jessica stood in the shadows of the potted ferns, clutching a cocktail napkin like a lifeline. She looked different, healthier. The hollows under her eyes had filled out. Her hair regained its old shine. She wore a simple black dress that might have been elegant if not for the way she kept pulling at the neckline. "Crashing parties now?" I asked, stepping into her sightline. She jumped. "Leah brought me. She didn't tell me it was..." Her gaze flicked to Sarah, now twirling on the dance floor with my mother. "God, she's gorgeous." The observation sat between us, neither compliment nor lament. "You look good," she continued. "Happy." I sipped my whiskey. "I am." A waiter passed with canapes. Jessica grabbed 2, devouring them like she hadn't eaten in days. "I'm sober now," she blurted. 2 years. 3 months. "Good for you." "I have a job too. Reception at a dentist's office." She twisted the napkin. "It's not fancy, but..." "Jessica." I waited until she met my eyes. "Why are you here?" Her throat worked. I needed to see if it was true. That you'd really moved on. That you were... She gestured weakly at the party. The ice sculpture with our initials. The photo booth spitting out pictures of grinning guests. "Better off." The words landed like a guillotine. Across the room, Sarah caught my eye and mouthed, "Everything okay?" I nodded, holding up 5 fingers. "Give me 5 minutes." Jessica tracked the exchange. "You don't even have to say it," she whispered. "The way she looks at you. God, I used to look at you like that." The jazz band transitioned into "Fly Me to the Moon," my father's favorite. I should be dancing with Sarah right now. "You should go," I said gently. She didn't argue, just reached into her clutch and produced a small velvet box. I've been carrying this around for years. Couldn't bring myself to pawn it. Inside rested the promise ring I'd given her our first Christmas together. A tiny sapphire she'd called tacky after the breakup. "Keep it," I said. "Consider it a souvenir." As she slipped out the service entrance, Sarah appeared at my side, her hand warm on my lower back. "Everything all right, love?" I watched Jessica's silhouette disappear into the parking lot. "Perfect." Later, when Sarah untied my bow tie in our penthouse suite, she asked about the woman in black. "Someone from another life," I said, kissing her bare shoulder. And that was the truth. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.